Hi, I'm R.G. Absher with the Overmountain Victory Trail Association. Ben Lane will be talking to you about 18th century woodworking.
My name is Ben Lane. I am a volunteer here at the museum and the Robert Cleveland log cabin where we do some of the demonstrations and so forth and cooking. And I will be showing you guys today, guys and girls, about the woodworking of the 1750s, thereabout, and how they made things, everyday things, and someone in the family, usually the father, would be educated in the producing of wood for their everyday use, in the cooking of food, but mainly in the woodworking of things such as hammer handles, axe handles, and other things like that, even to the log cabins and the woodwork in the log cabin. They made everything out of stone, wood, or iron. That's the three items that they had to make something. And we'll be doing the woodworking session of it today. So this thing I'm sitting on here is called a shaving horse. It is a horse because you ride it like a horse. You straddle it and ride it just like a horse. And shaving is when you take a draw knife or chisel or one of those planes and remove wood from it to make an object. Knife handles, like I say, or hammer handles, all sorts of handles. And the actual shaving of the wood, making the object that you want or need, spoons and so forth. And so that's the general scenario, but most every farm had one of these sawhorses of some design or other. Different parts of the country had a different looking shaving horse. And this is a draw knife. There's three of those over there. But they call them a draw knife because it's a knife to begin with, but you draw it to you. You don't cut away from yourself like you do with a normal butcher knife or a pocket knife. This is a draw knife. You draw it to you. The basic idea is they had trees, and plenty of trees. One of the reasons they came to America is because we had trees. And they made all their objects that they could out of wood because every man of the house, we'll say, had the basic tools that it took to make objects that he needed, furniture even, and to burn wood in the fire. That's the only way they had, was to cut wood. So they would saw the tree down. If it was a good tree with good grain in it, he would save it for his tools, or for hammer handles, axe handles, hoe handles. He would save this really straight grain wood for that. And it was easier to shave it into an object that you needed, a tool. And if you made handles for yourself in your farm and you were good at it, you would make handles and things for the community, surrounding you. And that's the way other folks did also, because the blacksmith business, somebody in the community did really good with everything, with something, so they could supply the surrounding community with whatever material they needed. They would take logs and cut them in different lengths for different length handles, of course shorter to burn in the fire, and split those out. They called it busting out, which means to split the wood, and you would split it in squares and then split it this way, and then you would wind up with squares, something you could bring to the shaving horse, a size that you could handle, and then you could actually make it on into a handle or some other smaller object. But that was the way that they got it. Cut the tree, section up the tree, and get it in a smaller piece of wood, which is more easier to handle on this to get it to the next step. And then they would shave it square or round or just whatever shape they would need. And there's a couple of different ones here. That's for finer work or rough work. The bigger one is for getting rid of a lot of the wood that's in the way. They actually called it waste wood because they didn't waste anything. Even to these shavings of the wood that the draw knife actually makes, we save them to start fires in the forge. That's how we start our fires with, and fires in the fireplace as well. Save every chip, sweep it up, put it in a container of sorts, and build fires. So there's nothing, absolutely nothing wasted when you cut a tree down. So, this could also be the beginning of a gun stock, or pistol handle, or knife handle. Everything had a beginning, and it wasn't like you could go downtown and buy one. There was no town. You had to make whatever you had was totally authentically made, or by your neighbor. He may be a blacksmith next door, and he could make your iron part, and then you could make the handles and make a draw knife. These were homemade. So there was a lot of wood going on. Handles, the wagon wheels, the body of the wagon, which would be the bed where you hauled your corn or whatever you were hauling. And it was just the way of life in those times. And it was a good life, but people understood then and had a tremendous work ethic.